All right, I've got Dean Obeidallah, Daily Beast contributor and host of the Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Radio. Matt Lewis is with us, senior political commentator and senior columnist at the Daily Beast, and Mr. Stelter. So, Matt, to you first, just listening to Sean's explanation, what did you think of that?
It doesn't make sense to me. Look, clearly, whenever there's a terror attack, the media is all over it. I mean, I think you could argue that the media overcovers some of these things. And you could say that maybe helps stoke fear. I think if Donald Trump has a point, it should be this, that the media covers terror attacks when they happen, and then a week or two later sort of recedes from covering the war on terror and against radical Islamism. And I think Donald Trump could say, look, this is how we prevent the next attack, is by doing the extreme vetting, by having a pause on these 7 countries. But to say that the media doesn't cover some of these attacks is patently false.
Yeah. Yes. So that's your point. Dean, you wrote about this in the Daily Beast, and you called out the hypocrisy and the president's criticism for the very same reason, but you say it's inaccurate. You talk about the Christian on Muslim attacks that you say don't receive adequate coverage. Let me just quote you. Trump and Conway's lies are especially despicable, and that they create an even more toxic anti-Muslim climate by making my fellow Americans believe there were more terrorist attacks by Muslims than truly exist. Explain.
Sure. First of all, Donald Trump is right on one level, oddly enough. There is not enough coverage of certain terror attacks in this country, or terror plots, but not the ones that have carried out by Muslims. It's one carried out by white supremacists or people who have a twisted view of Christianity. I don't call them radical Christians. They're not. They don't understand what Christianity is about. But on the very day Donald Trump's talking about this issue, a trial began in Tennessee in federal court. A man named Robert Darkett is on trial. For what? For plotting to kill Muslims in upstate New York with explosives, with a machete to cut them to shreds, and with different weapons, firearms. It gets almost no coverage. A week ago, we had a terror attack in Quebec. Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, called it a terror attack. We didn't have U.S. media go up there. Why? I'm going to be cynical, because it was Muslims being killed. That's part of the problem. We have 6 Muslims killed by a man who hated immigrants, who liked Donald Trump online, walked into a mosque, opened fire, killed 6 Muslims. If a Muslim had killed 6 Christians in a church there, you would have Donald Trump talking about it. You'd have more media coverage. And the list goes on and on of white supremacists plotting to kill Muslims in this country. And I really wish the media would cover it, because our lives matter, and it's important for this country that we feel that as well. We're in a dark time for our community right now.
Stelter, were you nodding?
Well, there was some coverage of what happened in Quebec, but Dean, I think you are onto something when you say if the roles have been reversed in some tragic way, in some sick way, that it would be different, that it would get more attention. Quebec was not on the president's list that was released yesterday of those 78 attacks. There were some really embarrassing misspellings on that list. Just another example of the sloppiness coming out of the White House. But the broader point here about what is of concern to Americans, I think, is crucial. Yes, there are extremists from many different directions, white extremists and Muslim extremists and others. If you were to look at the data, the numbers are very small when it comes to Americans killed by terrorists of any kind. But there is a greater threat from Muslim extremists than there is from Christian extremists, or whatever term you would say, Dean. So I do take a quibble with that part.
I just wonder why the White House is putting out, this list. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to put something out there so that we, talk about it and really bring it into the bloodstream as we are now? Matt, what do you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that obviously the topic right now is this so-called Muslim ban, and so this is the administration trying to buttress the case, trying to talk about the threats that radical Islamism does pose America. And look, I think that, on one hand, statistically speaking, you're probably more likely to die because of a swimming pool at your house than because of terrorism, whether that's coming from, Christians or Muslims. On the other hand, I would say that part of the job of being a president, being the commander-in-chief, is to anticipate future attacks. And I think that the real danger isn't the lone wolf guy with the machete, as horrible and as horrific as that is. It's the threat of a 9/11 type thing happening again, some sort of a dirty bomb let loose in a major city in America. That is the serious threat. And I think we may look back, this is what Donald Trump says, you could look back a couple years from now and say, why didn't we listen to Donald Trump when he wanted to do that?
Go ahead, Dean. You want to jump in? Last word.
Well, Matt, I agree with you, and the concern is some bomb, right? Well, Glennon Scott Crawford, a name probably no one knows here, sentenced 30 years to life in December for what? You're trying to build a radioactive bomb to kill Muslims. He was a white supremacist. Matt, the media is not covering this, so my fellow Americans don't understand what's going on. And sadly, Brooke, I fear we're going to have a Quebec attack in the United States where white supremacists, like a Dylan Roof, who killed Christians, will come in and kill people in my community. And it's incumbent, and I plead for the media, to cover these with the same zeal and gusto to make it clear the only threat against our country is not just from Muslims. There is a threat of ISIS. White supremacists are out there plotting to kill me and my family and my community. And I'd like the media to be on our side as well, to fight against this.
You make a valid point, and I hope you are 100% wrong on any future attacks.
Me too.
Matt and Dean and Brian, thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up next, President Trump says he's pretty sure former President Obama likes him. The interesting logic behind that comment coming up.